beautiful people, it's Trina, your scent gourmand. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm talking about a fragrance from what used to be one of my favorite fragrance houses, Mugler. Terry Mugler's original formulations of Angel, Alien, and some of the flankers like Alien Absolu, and a lot of stuff from the Liqueur de Parfum range, in addition to others such as Womanity, which I promised to talk about in a later video, were big perfumes in every sense of the word. Sadly, the good ones have been painfully reformulated or have been discontinued. And as a result, I'm always on the hunt for vintage bottles of Mugler scents. And since L'Oréal took over the house either late 2019 or early 2020, I think things have gotten further pear-shaped for Mugler, at least on the fragrance side of things. Now, I'm not speaking about financial successes or sales, mainly because mainstream preferences don't always reflect my personal tastes. I mean just that I'm not personally so impressed with the more recent releases, at least those I've sniffed. And the first release under L'Oréal was in fact Angel Nova, which came out in 2020 at the start of the pandemic. Angel Nova is described as an amber floral fragrance for a woman, but I'd sooner say it's a juicy berry bomb kissed by a rose. It was created by 3 perfumers, in fact. We have Sonia Constant, Louise Turner, and Quentin Bish. This, my friends, is nothing like Angel, even when compared to the extremely subpar reformulation of Angel a few years back. Had L'Oréal not had the audacity to introduce this fragrance as an Angel flanker, and instead christen it something like Fruit Nova, and packaged it in some cheesy Ariana Grande type bottle adorned with pink plastic parts, I might be more forgiving. But as it stands, this fragrance as it stands is a sugary fruit mix, which is not a deal breaker in itself for me, but I do find myself having to search for any depth of character or mystery or allure. It's like it's missing a soul, a solid base of something like that stunning patchouli found in at the bottom of Angel, the original formulation. I first had a sniff of Angel Nova back when I was traveling to Canada, right after the pandemic bans had lifted. I think it was at a Shoppers Drug Mart in Ontario. Yeah, I was visiting a friend there, and at the time I remember really liking the fragrance. It was overpriced there, so I told myself that I'd get it back in Japan, but actually that proved more difficult than I'd anticipated. So I ended up procuring a ton of samples online, which I poured into a larger 10 ml decant spray. And I'm enjoying what I have, but I'm also glad I didn't end up buying a full bottle. If you must compare Angel Nova with the original OG Angel, then you could say it's basically fresher and fruitier with accords of raspberry and rose. But like I said, I think it's hard to identify them as cousins. Here are the notes. The Mugler website breaks down the structure into 3 parts, renamed. At the top is Wonder, described as an overdose of raspberry combined with lychee notes or lychee notes for a fruity addiction. Apparently, it supplies a limitless pleasure that brings the fragrance to life. And at the heart is Super, a supernatural, sensual, and textured damask rose, resulting from double extraction. Mugler says its rose is unique, developed exclusively for them using upcycling and biotechnology. If you know anything about those words, comment below. And at the base is Power, a woody structure combining Akigala wood and benzoin to provide a contrast and an assertive personality. Mugler describes this base as the signature of the house and the sensual backbone to this fragrance. Angel Nova is a fruity melange with lychee and raspberry, both which I do appreciate in perfumery. Lychee is simply a beautiful smelling fruit, I feel, and raspberry, like several other berries, has an innate tartness that can help to balance out any over amount of sweetness, you know? But I had a hard time picking out the rose in here, but I do smell its influence. Angel Nova is unarguably a youthful scent, but some say this is mature enough to be sexy, but I completely disagree. Pleasant as it might be, this is so sweet and girly that it would suit a preteen, and the words preteen and sexy are words that should not go together, much as they sadly might for a thankfully very tiny minority of the population. But juvenile fragrances in themselves are not bad, for me personally, being a little more mature. Angel Nova will not take itself seriously, and that's refreshing. I even think an older fart like myself can pull this off. But for a weekend of fun, mostly, not at the office. I wouldn't say this fragrance lasts forever, but it will last several hours before turning into a skin scent. It's sadly at this point where I feel the fragrance really starts to smell quite lovely. There's a vague dance of fruit and jammy rose petals that at the top that becomes less frantic and emits an earthier and woodier vibe. That's more to my taste personally. But it doesn't actually evolve that much. It's pretty linear overall. Yeah. And I have to say that I think I enjoyed smelling this in store more than I do now that I have this fragrance in my hands. At first sniff, I thought it was more Mugler-esque than I do now. At present, at least, not only do I feel Angel Nova bears a little semblance to old school Mugler, but I'd venture to say this one even smells kind of generic. Not bad, just ordinary. I think the raspberry note in particular is a bit scratchy and loud. And I wouldn't call it a particularly classy or timeless fragrance. And I do think you can find similar types of scents for a lot less. Now, Angel Nova will definitely be nauseating during the summer months in southern Japan where I live, so I'll probably have used it up by the time this video is published, sometime in May, I think. I'm currently ahead of schedule, but trust me, the academic year has started and I'll soon likely fall way behind. Yeah, if it's hot enough to sweat, you don't want to be wearing this one. Cooler months, however, are okay. With the lychee in here, this does bear 40 or 50% similarity to PDM's Delina, but I would probably categorize it more along the lines of, Prada Candy and its flankers, Aquilina's Pink Sugar, or Carolina Herrera's Very Good Girl. Some of the same perfumers as Angel Nova, by the way. Yeah, if sweet and fruity is your jam, then this, you might like this. For me, however, it's been difficult for me to be more objective and remove the associations I have with Mugler and specifically the classic Angel. But I suppose removing subjectivity is neither desirable nor possible with fragrance reviews, but you know what I mean. If you've watched my review of Angel, you'll know how upset I was with the reformulation. I don't hate reformulations always, or this so-called flanker, but compared to the original Angel in the 90s, sorry, doesn't hold a candle. In 2021, by the way, the EDT version of Angel Nova was released, and this EDT from the same trio of noses is not only less intense and lighter, but also has a few note changes, which I guess is not uncommon. But when you mess a lot with a lot of things to make either an EDP or EDT or intense version, don't you then create a flanker? I wish there were more guidelines about naming things, because I do find myself getting annoyed by the way names can mislead us, Anyway, I've not personally sniffed out the EDT, but I hear it's laced with some sort of citrus at the top, making it brighter. And it also has magnolia in it. Probably that floral element softens the composition, as does the addition of musk, which has been added to the base. The Akigala wood at the bottom has been replaced with Virginia cedar as well. It's got the same DNA apparently, so if you have one, you probably don't need the other. And I've read that the EDP lasts longer, which is not surprising, so I'd always go with the EDP. Okay, my lovelies, I'm going to enjoy this little decant of Angel Nova for the following week. That's probably how long it'll take for me to use it up. If I change my opinion of this fragrance during that time, I'll be sure to make a note of it for you in the description section below. And as usual, I very much look forward to any of your opinions on this fragrance in the comment section, be they similar or completely different from my own. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I shall see you in my next video. Scent Gourmand, signing out. Smell you later. Mwah.